Hey, what's going on? Just figured I'd stop in today quick and start yakking about some of the new villains and some of the old ones. But before we get started, there was something. I don't know if you noticed the thumbnail at all. And it had this picture that we first had um, commissioned when I was trying to do the box from a long time ago. It was actually the first cover for the game. I liked it. It was a little bit cartoony, but it was definitely had the creepy vibe. I liked the gates, how you were looking into the town, and that actually is what influenced the box you see today, the standard picture. But I do like this one. I keep it around to use it as a background for some things. Um, I actually do have it as a possible background for the streams. But so yeah, and if anybody wants a copy of this picture, just let me know. I'll put it somewhere and make sure you can get it if you want one. But yeah, I just liked the way it looked. I mean, it had let's see, yeah, had that moon there in the background, but it was more of a skull. I thought that was kind of cool. Did really good on the lighting and had a little uh, extra effects, little extra monsters and things going on. There was some monster in here too, but it didn't look right. It didn't look like it meshed, so I had them take it out. But zombie hands right here at the entrance. The ender at your own risk. All kinds of little things going on here. Again, thought it was really well done. Looking down the street or looking down the residential neighborhoodish area. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, the bats, of course, they're obvious. But that's all I wanted to show you with that one. And so today, let's see, let's go through a couple of these. Make sure everything's showing properly. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, I have the next weekly unlock ready to show the promos. You know what? I might as well show them now. What the heck? I'll show them now and then I'll officially post it later. This way, if you actually watch the video, then you get to see it and you'll see what's going on. But yeah, so here's one of the new promos. This is my boomstick, and obviously we know where that's from. But it's just a special shotgun you get to shuffle into any random location, and it'll be there for you. But if you die, then it's removed from the game. So that's its penalty for being such a good gun. We also have new in town. I found this cool picture of a bus that looked like it was just coming into town, appropriately dark and creepy, of course. And yeah, I thought that one looked pretty cool for it. But at the start of the game, you get to attach new in town to the player's starting area because that's where the bus is going to come into. When somebody dies, you keep 1d3 of your items, allies, or clues. I got to fix the icons, got to raise them up just a little bit. That's not a big deal. But then you put a token on new in town. When there's 3 tokens there, you remove it from the game. So you only get to be a newbie for so long. Then you got to get right into it. But I figured it'd help um, somebody new if they're struggling or if you just want to throw it in there to make the game a little bit easier. Because I know some of these guys can be really, really difficult. You're welcome. So yeah, that's why I made new in town. So that brings us up to 4 promos. The 2 from last week, the Krampus and the oh my gosh, brain freeze. Oh, Strange Brew, that's right. And then we have the shotgun, the boomstick, and new in town from this week. And then of course we have get back there. Two more to go. Or 2 more openings, which means 4 more promos to go. I'm thinking about a new character. I actually have a whole document that I have promo cards, it's called. And I don't want to show it only because I don't want to give too much away there. And I haven't decided which ones we're using, but it has characters in it. It has extra promo cards. It has all these things. That's what I like about the promo cards is whenever I do a location or a villain, everything has to match and mesh with it. It has to fit that theme. But promo cards let me throw in those extra Easter eggs, like again, boomstick and stuff that don't that might not match with a certain theme. Although an homage to Ash is in the general store, so that'll make sense for him. But wait on Ash, and I'm going to show this thing next because we have the graphic novel book 1 available, and we just got a new sketch in for an alternate cover for it for when we launch book 2. And this is from Luke Stone. I liked the idea of you're looking into the werewolf's eye and you're seeing the Beth and John reflected in it. I liked that. He sent me a couple of different sketches, but this is the one I liked the best out of it. So this is going to be the new alt cover. That's going to come out when Slaughterville 2 shows up. And you'll be able to get that. We are, oh my gosh, what page are they on? I think they're on page 17 of 56. That's going to be colored. And so, yeah, they're moving right along. We should have that out by the end of summer. I don't want to put it, I don't like putting things to Kickstarter or Indiegogo or wherever it goes until it's done. So, I mean, technically we could launch it now and just say we're going to put it out later, but I don't want to do that. I always wait until my stuff is done, and then we go live with it. So that's that. Hey, how are you? We'll get you back to the cool stuff in a second. So let's see. So that was the new stuff. That was the picture. Again, if anybody wants that picture, they're more than welcome to have it. But today, we're going to take a look at, again, the whole villain talk thing. We're going to take a look at the handy-dandy Vermes and talk about what they are, what they do. So, share screen. There we go. Beautiful. I love it when a plan comes together. So this is their villain mat. And the Vermes, of course, is our take on the Tremors, the ground shutters. What's neat is normally when we do villain decks or villains, they have their own deck. And you work through the deck. And it's either going to be the deck is their life or the deck is going to influence how long they're going to be around and what they can do to you. Well, here's the thing with the Vermes. There's a villain deck technically, but what you're going to do is you're going to split it into 6 piles. And you're going to shuffle those cards into each location so that the Vermes are always waiting in the town underneath the surface somewhere. Now, granted, if you only shuffle in it and there are 2 cards in, well, some of them are going to be closer than others. So they are lurking under the town waiting for you. That's their unique thing. And whenever you go to a location, whenever you move there for any reason, and I'm talking when you move there because you escape, you move there because you panic, when you get to a location, you're going to put a noise token on it. And then you're going to overturn cards equal to the number of noise tokens on the location. And I think we're going to put the limit at 5 on these. I have to put that into the mat. I didn't do that yet. Which again is the nice thing about doing this ahead of time, because honestly, when I was testing this, we would have like 10 of these noise tokens on there, and it got to be a bit much to manage. But honestly, 5 is plenty each time, to overturn cards. And when you overturn, if you encounter or if you overturn one of the Vermes, one of the worms, you encounter them. And when you encounter them, they actually get attached to the location, and they have special abilities that are going to remove cards from game, or they're going to hurt you or something. And the more Vermes that are out, the worse it is, because your job is going to be to kill the queen, and she can't be hurt as long as she has her drones to defend her. So, yeah, you can't attack the queen until they're all gone. So it pays to, you still got to hunt around for the queen because she shuffled into one of the decks and you have no idea which one, unless you cheat, there's always that. But otherwise, yeah, characters in a single combat round choose a Vermes at their location. So if you ever encounter any card that says have a single combat round against the villain, pick one of the Vermes at your location, just any one, doesn't matter. That's up to you. If the Vermes ever has 0 health, they're dead. They're removed from the game. They can't be returned for any reason. And we'll look at their cards in a minute. If you ever have a location with 0 cards in their deck and discard pile, it's considered a destroyed location, because that's what the Vermes are doing. You're making too much noise with this town. They're going to destroy it so that they can go back to sleep, so that you're no longer ruining their day by making so much noise. And if you ever destroy a location, those Vermes, instead of being destroyed, decide they're going to move to another part of the town, another random non-destroyed location, and they're going to start destroying that one. So the more you leave out, the more difficult it's going to be for you. And then you remove the location mat from the game. Or if you don't want to take the mat away, just take all the cards off of it so you know not to go there. Whatever you need to do to make it work for you. You can use an action at any time on your turn, use an action, have a single combat round against a Vermes at your location, and then add a noise token to it. Again, up to the maximum of 5. So yeah, it's not like you're ever going to have to wait to fight them. As soon as you see them, you can run right over to them and start fighting. That's entirely up to you if you want to go all that way. I can't tell you that yet. That's a new promo that's probably coming. Let's see. Now, as an action, because again, you're searching for the queen, you want to find her. Unfortunately, when you're searching for the queen, you might disturb the drones. But as an action, you can overturn up to 3 cards, attach any items you find to the location as a trap. So what you're doing is you're trying to prepare traps that will damage the Vermes that are on that location. And then you add a noise to the location because, well, you're making noise setting traps. It only makes sense that way. Whenever a character encounters or enters single combat round against a Vermes, you're going to detach all traps from the location. Each of the Vermes suffer 1 damage for the trap, for each trap. So if you have 3 traps out and there's 3 of the Vermes on there, each of them is going to take 3 damage. So yeah, you can set traps and try to make things a little easier for you. But again, it takes one of your actions. So you have to decide which one you're going to do. And the players win when the queen is killed. The Vermes win when 4, 3, or 2 locations are destroyed. Easy is 4 locations because it gives you plenty of time to look around. Normal is 3. When 3 locations are destroyed, you lose. Hard is really hard. That's when you have to be on point with hard, keeping 2 locations from being destroyed. 3 I found was a good average. I think I had a 25% win rate on 3. Depends on, what you decide to do. Now on the villain turn, you're going to overturn the top card of the location with the most noise. If it's a Vermes, encounter it. Because again, the noise that you build up on the location is going to bring these things out. Otherwise, it's removed from the game. So it's them destroying the town. If a character is on that location, they suffer 1 damage because, again, they're destroying the town. You're getting hurt along with it. So there is no villain card, remember. All of the villain cards are shuffled into the locations. So it's going to be your job on the villain turn to overturn their top card, but only the one with the most noise. So it's not everyone. If there's a tie with the most noise, well, then you have 2 you're going to have to overturn, or 3, depending on how many have it. If there's no noise, though, then, well, you don't have to do anything. But usually there's going to be at least 1 because you have to move to a location to encounter it. Let's see. Otherwise, it's removed from game, etc., etc. So that's the mat. That's what you need to do. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer as we can. Now, next one, we'll take a look at some of the drones. And let's see. Stop that one. Share. That one. There we go. Now, Kat does not like these cards at all because she doesn't like the bugs. She doesn't like the look of them. So let's zoom in close on them. No, we'll just show these. But they are an enemy, of course, and they're all Vermes. They have 3 health per character. Some of them. This is the basic drone. And, of course, it's a villain card. And each character, when you encounter it, each character at this location suffers 1d3 damage. And then it becomes the drone with a combat of 3. And it tells you what to do at the start of the villain turn. And that's what all of these are going to have. This ability happens once. When they're encountered, suffer 1d3 damage. Then you attach them. Like it says on the villain mat, the Vermes get attached to the location. So wherever you overturn it from, attach it to it. And then they become, this is their attack for when you decide to attack them. This is their combat. So at the start of the villain turn, overturn the top card of this location. If it's a Vermes card, encounter it. Otherwise, it's removed from the game. It's just like the villain mat ability, only it's not the one with the most noise. It is whatever location this one happens to be attached to. And there are 12 or 13 of these in the deck, the basic drone. So there's going to be a lot of overturning cards and removing them from the game if they're not Vermes, because these drones are just going to be out there in mass. There we go. The next one we have, aside from the drone, is the fast drone. The fast drone is similar to the regular. Of course, it's a Vermes, 3 health per character, etc., etc., but they're a lot faster. When you encounter them, each character at this location suffers 1d3. Again, when it's encountered. I was considering putting that in here as opposed to the drone that just says each character. I wasn't sure if people would be confused by this, where it doesn't say when encountered. So then I put this in. I'm debating on whether or not to leave it in. I guess it really doesn't hurt to put when encountered. This way you know it only happens then. But yeah, they still have the three attack. However, with these, at the start of the villain turn, you overturn the top card of the adjacent location, of each adjacent location. So they're not just the one you're on, or they're not the one you're on. They're at the ones next to it, because they're fast enough to flip between the 2 different locations that are next to the one they're at. And if a Vermes card, encounter it, otherwise removed from game, just like usual. Now, there are only 3 of these in the deck. Same thing with the armored drone. Now, the armored drone has 5 health per character. And again, it's a villain card, etc., etc. But you have to defeat the armored drone before you can attack any other Vermes on the location. So they're out strictly for defense. They're your defender. They're, well, not your defender. They're the defender of the Vermes clan. And they only have 2 health, or 2 attack, 2 combat, because they have such a high health. They're out simply to be a damage buffer, to be something that you have to get through in order to get to the other Vermes on the location. And at the start of the villain turn, each other Vermes, so in other words, not the armored drone, heals 1. So they're going to take 1 damage off each turn that this thing is still out there. So not only does it protect them, it also helps heal them as well. And again, 3 of those. The hybrid, the Vermes were worshipped as gods. Some took it too far. Yes, that's exactly what you're thinking it is. Each other Vermes at this location is +1 on their combat. So by having these hybrids around, it makes the other Vermes stronger. And there's still a combat of 4. On the villain turn, overturn the top card of the location. If it's an ally, remove it from the game and each character suffers 3 damage. If it's an item, overturn an additional card. And you don't keep overturning if you find an item. You just do the extra one and that's it. If it's a Vermes card, you encounter it. Again, I might put some space in between here just to make it more readable. So those are the hybrids. There's 3 of those as well. And finally, we get to the queen. She has 5 health per character. When encountered, though, and again, remember, their goal is to destroy locations. When she's encountered, remove the discard pile of the location with the most noise from the game. So if you have a location that's tied again for the most noise, you'll be removing 2 discard piles. And because she's supposed to come out late game, usually you have a larger discard pile, and she's able to almost wipe out a location on her own. She cannot be attacked while there's other Vermes attached to any location. And she has 5 attack, just like Bubba. On the villain turn, you overturn 1 card from the location with the most noise. If it's a Vermes, encounter it. Then you get rid of the discard pile from the game. So she is always doing these massive damages, these massive attacks, as far as, especially with getting rid of cards from the locations. That is her job. That's what she's here for, because she wants you to stop bothering her brood, I guess is the best way to say it. So there you have it. There's the Vermes. Typo under villain turn. Which one? Whoops. There we go. Oh, okay. I'm with you. Let's go back to the board then. Let's go back to that. Let me reopen it. Oh, that's my desktop folder. See, this is what I like about it, is because then you can let me know. Oh, yeah, I did do that. Okay. See, this is, I teach psychology as well. And what's nice about this is it always brings home the point that we see things as we expect them to be rather than what they are, if that makes sense. Because I always teach that kind of thing and try to get people to be aware of it. But we really do. And it's why it's always good to have somebody else reread your things. And again, we usually give these a good once over before ever going to print. So yes. So yeah, I'll take care of that. But said needs more, needs more clarity. Okay, overturn the top card of the location with the most noise. So what's going to happen is you're going to put noise tokens on the locations as you go to them. If it's a Vermes card, encounter it. Otherwise, it's removed from the game. If a character's on the location, they suffer 1 damage. Or was there another part that needed clarification? I should just bring you in. We can just chat that way. It might be easier for you. Yeah, I'm not sure where the clarification would need to be. So that's something we'll have to discuss. And again, because I see it a certain way, because I'm used to the game, right? I'm used to this villain already. I know exactly how it's supposed to be. And again, that's why it's important for other people to take a look at these things, because they might see it a different way. And that's always an interesting thing. I think that section needs a bit more clarity. Okay. Well, I'll keep this up for a little bit. If the character always suffers a damage on the last. Okay, I see what you mean. No, if there's a character on the location that has the most noise, no matter what the result is of this, then they suffer that damage. Maybe I should see how we would reword that. Yeah, a lot happens up here sometimes when I overturn the top card of location with the most noise. Any characters on that location suffer 1 damage. Period. If a Vermes card encounter, etc., etc. Maybe that'd be worded better. Overturn the top card of location with the most noise, and any characters on that location suffer 1 damage. That might make it more clear. Because this way the damage happens no matter what, and you're only searching on the location with the most noise. And again, if there's multiple locations, there will be multiple instances, and then perhaps say always. Yeah, I'll run through a few to make this clearer, or try to make it clear that this always happens no matter what. Oh my goodness, that the damage happens all the time no matter what. And let's see, yeah, and then we do the check to see if the card is a Vermes card or not. I could even put on. For the location, parentheses with an S, in case there are multiple locations, with the most noise tokens. Each character on those locations suffer 1 damage, then overturn a card if it's a Vermes encounter. Otherwise, it's removed from game. It'll be something like that. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that with it. Now I have you can't see it that small. Let me just take this off quick for just a second. I have the Mirror Town printed out. I'm going to be testing that more this week. And yeah, so we have those all printed out. Your plot cards, your defenders, your the main mat that we're going to go through, and I'll do more of a deep dive on that one next week when we do this. So yeah, that'll be for then. But yeah, I think that'll work. I'll specify to search for the most noise first, and then it'll say each character on those locations, on that location, parentheses S, suffers 1 damage. Then overturn a card from those locations if and we'll go from there. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yep. Drop it on a new line. Yeah. I could even probably just put for each location with the most noise, characters on that location suffer a damage too. I by hitting the old enter key, because I have space there. I just don't like to crowd it too much because it makes it more difficult to read sometimes. That is a challenge for doing a lot of these, is fitting everything I want within the confines of the mat size, and without making the font size too small that people can't read it. If you saw, did you ever see the old ones, the originals? That font was about honest to God, about maybe half the size of this that we have now. It was insanely small. So that's always in my head when I'm doing these, is I want the font size to be large enough that people can read it from the table without too much difficulty. So, but yeah, I like the idea. I can hit enter here and then put for each location with the most noise, characters on that location suffer a damage. That might even be the easiest. I think that'll work. One of those things. We'll do one of them. We'll make it clear. We'll get it checked out. All right. Feel like I'm back in class. Any other questions on the Vermes before we move on? That's yes. It's only 21% of the actual file size. That's about the size I work in. Yeah. All right. So that's that. Did you get to see the promos? Make sure you saw those new things and the picture and stuff. Before we go on to, I just want to show the Dark Presence off a little bit. Demon Razor, Dracula. And that'll be the end of the Slaughterville 2 stuff. And then we can move on to the Director's Cut stuff and move from there. Okay. Let's get back to here. Yeah, I do like that new line idea. I'm gonna have to put that on a new line. I think that'll give it enough separation that it'll make more sense. But that's the reason why some things are sometimes squished. Oh, I talk with my hands a lot. If you ever notice that. But that's the reason why some things are squished, is because I'm always cognizant of. Oh, you missed the first minute. Okay, cool. That's why I do that, is because I want to make sure that the font's big enough and that everything fits on the page properly. That's why I do that. Oh, somebody sent me a message. I have a friend. So let's stop that. I just want to show you this just in case you didn't see. Boom, this picture here. This is the one. I really do wish I had the pictures that this person drew. Now, I'll be honest with you. The person that drew this, I mean, they obviously do it pretty well. They were going to do the villains for the first game, but then something didn't pan out where they weren't able to finish it. But they drew a pumpkin head type villain, like a Halloweeny one, that I wish I still had, because it was pretty cool. It was, but I really liked what they did with the stuff here. Yeah, that's a bummer. If I can find that, I'll make sure to show it, because it's in this painted style, and that's what I liked, this painted style. It's just, it didn't pan out, as far as I wasn't able to complete everything, which is fine. That happens. But I still keep this around just because I like this piece. I like what they did. There's actually a couple of different versions of it with some other monsters and things in, and they're okay. Don't get me wrong, they're fine. It's just, see if I can't find them. Show them to you quick. The different versions. Oh yeah, that one let me get rid of that quick. You can, sorry, I just really like the game, obviously, and so yeah, I like sharing the stuff about it, especially this kind of stuff. Yeah, this one had the welcome sign up here. I thought was okay, but it didn't have the moon, didn't have the werewolves or anything else. So it was a nice ominous look into the town. And then they went this way. Did not care for the spider webs at all. That's something that really didn't thrill me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they look fine. But yeah, that's when they added this, and they added this dude up here. And then that's when I took that away, and I'm like, something else for a border. And then they put the bats in so that I could put the logo up here, and that's the one I ended up liking the best. But I never used it on the box, because we went with a different art style. I've never done prints before. Not prints as in the artist formerly known as, but I mean, like if somebody wanted this as a print, I'd imagine that's something we could do. Maybe as a promo thing, throw it in the original art kind of a deal. I don't know if anybody would be really into that. Here I go rambling again. You'll get used to that. I ramble. So let's go check out the Dark Presence. Where are you? Oh, you're the back of it. Okay. That's the schemes. That's its main deck. And dun, 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 dun. Dark Presence mat. Now this one, I came up with the Dark Presence. It was it wasn't going to be an intended villain at first, but I decided I wanted to show who it was behind the town. Oh, also you're going to notice something else different. I didn't. I thought I would like the separator bar here, but I actually like it better under the titles. It just fits better. I noticed that after. Plus, I keep the actions. Villain turn, win and loss are always down in the bottom now. We learn with each iteration, and it really does help. So, yeah, there's that. Let's bring this up, minimize so I can see both this screen and the thing here. Okay, I'll have to double check on the comments once in a while, and we'll go from there. But so what the Dark Presence does, yeah, any card with single combat round in the text is discarded. You're not gonna have a single combat round against the Dark Presence. It doesn't happen. He's all about the different schemes that he's going to have, and that he's been building up through ever since he helped found the town. This is the main dark power, the one that's behind everything in the town. You shuffle up his schemes, which we're going to take a look at then, and put him near the Dark Presence, overturn one, and place it above him. And his schemes are how he's going to win the game if he finishes 5. And actually, you're racing to finish 5 of them. And you're going to either cancel out his schemes, you're going to try to stop him, or you're going to, or he's going to finish them up ahead of time or before you. So, if the number of, on the villain turn, if the number of schemes is fewer than the number of players, overturn a new one. Now I would say overturn number of characters, because what if it's one player playing 3 characters? Then they're like, oh, I only need to put out 1. So I would clarify that with characters instead of players. So on the villain turn, then you'll encounter a villain card. After resolving it, you're going to move it to the scheme that has the symbol that matches. See, on each of the villain cards, you have, zoom it in a good bit, you'll have these symbols. And these symbols are going to relate to schemes. And each scheme requires a set number of symbols in order to be, quote-unquote, completed. In other words, the Dark Presence is trying to put his plans into motion and try to complete all of his schemes. That's what his job is supposed to be. So when you encounter a villain card, after you go through its text, like this one here says the words of power flow, etc., etc. Each player must move to a random location. So everybody moves to somewhere random. First player overturns the top card of the villain deck. If a symbol matches the scheme, attach it. Otherwise, shuffle it back in. And then once you've finished with the text on it, you check the symbol and look at the different schemes that he has, which we'll take a look at closer in a bit. And see if this symbol matches one of those schemes. And if it does, you attach it. And when there's enough cards or enough symbols matching the schemes, then they are completed and the scheme is done. So this one here, let's do a 150 zoom. This here, behind the scenes scheme, needs a combat, an agility, and a nerve. So if you would attach this one, you're 1/3 of the way to completing it. You'd still need the nerve and the agility. So, yep. And then as long as this is out, this ability is in effect. So there you go. Let's see what else is the Dark Presence. As a free action, a player at the player starting area tries to foil the scheme. You add the number of symbols on the scheme and all villain cards with the cult symbol attached to a scheme. The cult symbol is a wild, and it actually says attached to any. And in the villain deck discard pile. Dark Presence is going to roll that many dice plus 1. If you want a harder game, you increase it, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how difficult you would want it to be. And then you do a roll-off. You get a die, and you can detach any number of clues, allies, and items to gain additional dice for each one. And then after you roll, if you succeed, the scheme has failed. If the Dark Presence succeed, all players suffer the difference in damage. If there's a tie, reroll. And so that's how you thwart his schemes. Is you go and you check to see how many symbols he has. That tells you how many dice he's going to roll, and then you gather your dice based on your 1 plus anything you discard or detach, and then do a roll off. So yep, that's your Dark Presence in a nutshell. Here's his different cards, different abilities. They're all going to have the different symbols attached to them. Here's the cult symbol. Yep. Yeah. Fail or tie, attach long sleep to a scheme. It counts as 1 symbol towards completing the scheme. Because again, I wanted that one to be a wild. And even the same card would have different symbols on them. So, but there's the schemes, the different ones that could be out. So yeah, that's your handy dandy Dark Presence. Yeah, your agony is my pleasure. The Dark Presence has destroyed gates to Slaughterville. No player may heal at the player's starting area. So yeah, that's never a good one. Obviously, you don't want that one to stay out long. All right. So let's see if we missed anything. Yeah, if the symbols match, place the card next to Yeah, once the scheme is complete, the ability is active. And then, yeah. So as long as it's not complete, you're fine. It's just one. That's why some of them also have fewer number of symbols on them, is because the ability is more dangerous, and so then it should take them longer to come out than others before their ability is actually taken into effect. Like this one only has 2 that he needs to complete, but the ability isn't as deadly. Yeah, all enemies are +1 attack. You can deal with +1 combat on your enemies much easier than you can the entire first player or the entire player starting area being destroyed. So there we go. So what one do we have next? What one do we have? We did the Dark Presence. Oh, Demon Razor. You know, I'll just highlight all of them, and we'll go through all of them. There we go. I should have had these loaded ahead of time, but I wasn't sure if we were going to do them all. So let's get rid of the Dark Presence. We did that one. Now, Demon Razor was a special villain that we had out, and it's actually based on the art from our other game, our Gods of Metal game. Let's get Dracula back over where he belongs. And let's see, Dracula, Dr. Frankenstein, and the Demon Razor. Let's make sure we have Demon Razor's cards, and then we're good. But yeah, they're based on Gods of Metal art. I really like the art, and I thought, what if we could actually make our first fully competitive villain? And that's what this one is. Okay, just make sure I don't miss anything. And yeah, this is our first fully competitive villain where you are actually against each other. This was, of course, based on Hellraiser. And you open the box, now you're standing in hell. It's going to be your job to get out. And you're going to lie, cheat, steal, and step on everybody else around you in order to do that. So when the villain deck is empty, shuffle the discard pile and make a new villain deck. So the villain doesn't actually die on this one. It's your friends that you're hoping will, well, not your friends, I guess, but it's the other people that were with you when the box was opened that you're hoping will die. Let's see. Number of clues gained from combat and location encounters is doubled. So you're gaining many, many, many more clues because you're going to be using those clues in these actions in order to attack and screw over your other denizens, your other competitors. Players have to suffer 1d3 in order to attach an item. So you don't get anything for free in hell. You have to pay in order to get it. Allies are blank, and you attach an ally when encountered. So whatever allies you're attaching, they're not there for their stat bonus. They all have blank text. When you encounter a villain card or an enemy, you can detach an ally to force another player to encounter it. When a player kills a character, that player may attach one of the puzzle clues attached to the character. Yeah, you're trying to figure out the pathway or the clues in order to get your way out of hell with the Demon Razor. And each character is going to earn through the villain cards different puzzle clues. But if you kill other characters, you get to take one of their puzzle clues. So it encourages a lot more of the take that, stabby, killy. So if you're not into this, if you're not into the competitive part, this one might not be a villain for you. And to be honest, we have 21 villains now. This is our first, I think our only so far, actual competitive villain. And but yeah, I wanted to put one in there just for those people that like stabbing each other in the face. Let's see. When a character dies, you can choose to keep either your items, your clues, or your allies. You detach the rest. So whenever you die in this one, you're not losing everything. Because again, competitive, we wanted to give you at least some kind of head start. But you win when you have 4 puzzle clues. Oh yeah, you definitely would not be. I mean, you could, but it'd be a really short game because you start the game and you win. Yeah, he's definitely not a solo one because it's meant to be competitive against others. I say he, but whatever it is. You detach a clue or an ally to give any player -1 on any check. So that's why we gave you so many clues, and you can attach allies for free because you're just getting rid of them. They're like tokens to give players -1 for each thing you have detached. But again, if you do that, then that's fewer that you have later to help yourself out. Before anybody attempts a check, you can detach 2 clues or allies to move to that location, and you can attempt that check instead. So you can steal it out from under them. Or as an action, you can detach any number to choose a player to suffer 1 damage for each ally or clue that you've detached. So throw everything you have at them. And you can detach 4 clues to steal a puzzle from somebody. So there's a lot of that, which again was intentional. And like I said, the art is taken directly from the Gods of Metal game. Here's one of the all the different puzzle clues, right? Is each one of these things. Each player chooses a number of allies. The player who chose the most allies detaches them and can attach the ghoul. That because again, the ghouls are going to eat people, so you're feeding the ghoul in order to get them to go along with you. Each other player suffers damage equal to the number of the allies that you detached that the winner did. So each of these are going to have something different. Yeah, the horse, because it's a horse, you get +1 agility for it. Yeah, all kinds of good fun stuff. But I don't want to go too much. Yeah, Cerberus, of course, has things you can do. You can detach 3 clues to cancel an attack and attach Cerberus. There's the Banshee. Yeah, I even left his guitar in because, yeah, I like it. So, yeah, there's your Hellhound. All of these are puzzle clues, again, that you're trying to find. The Ice Reaper. The Leviathan's a big one. Each player adds the values of all their stats, add one for every puzzle clue, and have a single combat round against Leviathan, who has 20 attack. Like, just ridiculous. I know, I get it, but I thought it would be a fun one. And it turns out, yeah, I like it. All right, so that's your quick take on the Demon Razor, competitive villain. You're looking to attach and find 4 puzzle clues in order to win, in order to make it out of hell safely, as you're trying to attack others and others are trying to attack you. Simple as that. Next, we have the old doctor. I was going to call him Modern Frankenstein, but that didn't feel right. So I just changed. I think even in the file yet, I have it labeled as Modern Frankenstein in the folder, but it's the doctor. And he's trying to bring back his lost love that was killed in a car accident. I used to have a whole backstory up here, but again, because of font size, because of limitations, again, I want you to be able to read it. I removed the whole backstory part. Sometimes I have to do that and just give a little blurb so that we can fit more of the text on. If a character is killed, place Frankenstein at that location, then place the character next to the villain mat. And when the charge, which again is the charge of the machine, reaches 5, 10, and 15, place a random character next to Dr. Frankenstein. So again, they're trying to get the pieces. So when he charges up his machine to 5, then 10, then 15, it's going to have 3 more pieces lined up to him. And he's not an easy villain to beat, but he's definitely a different kind of villain. Put a token next to a player starting area to represent the charge of the machine. Place a random character from the reserve next to Dr. Frankenstein. You win when you defeat the monster. So the monster is going to be all about this final combat thing where it's going to come out, and it's supposed to be a big, powerful monster that's trying to attack you. When Frankenstein's deck is empty or the charge reaches 15, the monster rises. So even if it gets to 15, you don't lose. You're going right into the final combat then, and it's one of our villains that have the final combat, and we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, this was difficult to fit everything into this mat because there was a lot to it with the final combat and so on. But on the villain turn, he's either going to get a lightning strike. The lightning's going to strike the machine. Draw and play an additional villain card with It's Alive, or the perfect specimen. You're going to move Frankenstein to a random location and attach an ally from the deck or discard pile. So you're building this machine. The monster rises from the table, reaches out, snaps the neck of the doctor. And then the monster's stat is the stats of all the allies and characters next to Frankenstein. So whatever is attached to him, in other words, all of the pieces of the people that he's taken combine to create this monster. Okay. This one here, I have again in a so I had to do this sometimes too. Specifically set it up for solo or certain number of player counts, just because during testing I would find that if we left it as standard for 3, 4, 5, 6 players, 6, I'll be honest with you, 6 is a bit much sometimes, but it's doable. Sweet spot is usually 4 or 5. I like playing solo, and that's again. It's what I do. Every game I ever make is going to have some kind of a solo option. So solo gamers unite alone. And I wanted it so that, again, if you don't have somebody, you can still play. Except for, except for Demon Razor. You're not going to play Demon Razor solo unless you're able to play multi-handed and not influence the outcome too much, but that's pretty hard on a competitive one. So 1 out of 21 villains, is unable to be played solo. Although I wonder if I could do it. I'm sure I could eventually. I did it with the very original Jack the Ripper. It was a social deduction game that we had as solo playable. But I think that's another one that we changed. But we'll get there when we get there. So, yeah, you draw random characters that are going to assist and help you in this fight. In other words, villagers show up to help you. That's why I did that. Like random villagers show up to help you. But on the villain turn, you perform the steps. The monster is going to try to intimidate you, and then it's going to try to attack. Well, it's going to calculate your attack. Then it's going to do attack because it's not a stupid monster. It's a smart monster, and it's got all of the abilities and stats of everybody that's been attached to it. Let's check this. When I played this, I wasn't sure if at the end all combat rounds along the villain turns. Let me see if I can figure out what you mean. So this happens on the after each player turn. And this, I'm going to have to make this wider so I can read it here. There we go. Hopefully that does that help you? Does that make it wider there? Okay, good. It's weird because I see it in a different window than what you see it. Okay. Monster tries to intimidate you. First, you make a nerve check against the monster's nerve. If you lose, you're -1 to all stats. I also did that too. I made it. I think we talked about that last time with the font thing. The monster calculates your plan of attack. Make a perception check against the monster's perception. If you lose, you detach an item. Yeah, so you're kind of boned there. Choose a player. Okay. So, let me see. When I play at the end, all combat rounds followed. The monster does a combat check against the all players. If the players lose, apply damage to each player's character equally. If the players win, so yeah, it's everything. Again, you combine your stats for everything. What happens in the player? Oh! I see what you're saying. If you attack him yourself, if you go against him on your own, he still has his full combat. In other words, if you have 5 characters attached to him, he has all of that combat added together. You're just going up against him by yourself then. So yes, I think I believe that's what you're saying. So yeah, if you try to attack him on your turn, you're going at it. You're going at it alone. When you do it when it happens on the villain turn, that's when everybody's coming together to do it. Yeah. So for these checks, and you can detach a clue to gain +1 to anything in a solo game. Those things join you. Yeah. How to say it? The in between turn was meant for you to keep get your health back and gain any advantages that way. Switch out items if you needed to, or so on. Let's see. Yeah, he's going to be gathering allies in order to make the monster stronger. Summons Igor to do some damage to you, or searching the deck for the machine. So they get special abilities with they get the different parts of the machines assembled. That's the first try at making a monster. It's just again a big damage, a high damage monster that comes after you. There we go. All right. Yeah, pretty much on your solo turns on yourself. You're unless you're really confident. Like again, down near the end when he's almost defeated, uh, then then you might want to take a crack at him yourself. Yeah. So, but mostly you want to try to gang up and do it. But yeah, the between turns, the player turns were all about you try to heal, work together, share items if you need to, trade on and off, and so on. That's what that was intended for. Because when we were playing these kinds of games, we were looking at it. I don't know if you remember Kevin. I don't know if you ever got to see the old videos with Kevin and I and the rest of us playing. We're like, well, how does it um, make you feel? How does it represent the books, the films, and so on? And wow, we went over an hour already. I feel bad for you having to listen to me for about an hour. um and it was where was that big final climactic battle where the villagers stormed the castle? And we realized when we were looking through this, it used to be just get the machine built up, and then he gets to summon the monster and etc. Like, well, we didn't have that. So I put this in here. I'm like, no, we should fight the monster, and the monster should be terrifying. It should be devastating. If you're fighting this monster after it's been able to be built for a while, it's going to be much more deadly. And so yeah, that's why we did this. I wanted this to have that feel of that final villager storming the castle thing. And again, I know they were not exactly in the right if you go into the legality and the ethics of Frankenstein's monster, but that's a whole different thing. I just wanted to give you a good battle. It's the problem with having psychology degrees as well as wanting to make things fun. Although I'll be honest with you, the psych degrees helped give an insight into people and what can make them scared, what can make them more entertained. And that is a lot of what I try to incorporate into these. Like what makes it feel right, and evoke a lot of that emotional reaction with it. Yeah, when she drew the zombie guy in the back, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, I also go by cool factor, whatever's pretty cool. The first attempt monster, I mean, he was okay. Brutal honesty. I thought the art was okay for that. Wasn't my favorite piece that she did. Although the machines look pretty badass. I like them. But yeah, where were we? Where was the machines? Yeah, during the final combat, the monster suffers -1 damage. For that machine part, monsters +1 attack combat. Final combat, the monster may reroll 2 non-success dice. So in other words, if he has fails, because I used to have it where the monster kind of reroll 2 dice, and it's like people would reroll successes, and I'm like, God, that wasn't in the spirit of it. So I specified, even though it took up more space on the card. Because again, I get it. People want to win, but I always err on the caution of what's the most thematic and storytelling. But I understand not everybody does that kind of a thing. So yeah, move Frankenstein, search the discard pile of the 4th location, the 5th location, etc. location for an ally and attach it. So this way, the allies are always being sacrificed to help build the monster. All right, the last one we have for today, and again, maybe if you want, again, let me know. I'll show you an early preview of the brain freeze, the Mirror Town, and I'll show you what I did with it if you want. Now I'll go in deeper into it later, but I'll just give you a quick preview of it if you wish. And if not, if you're just sick of after all of these different villains, which again, believe me, I can understand. Listening to me for a while is something else. We'll end it after Dracula then. So this one here, yeah, Dracula was all about, believe it or not, one of my favorite movies was the Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves in them. Of course, Gary Oldman. Winona Ryder, but it is what it is. And that's kind of what I wanted here. Is he was coming to Slaughterville to find his long lost love and all of that. Dracula cannot attack the player who has the metal cross. Holy water does its effect twice because we have the church location, and those two items are in the church. So I thought that was pretty cool. I had to put those in. Dracula, his combat is the number of players plus whatever his track is going to be. I also added this, the day and night, and in now I'm gonna have to do it. If I don't do this, it'll bother me for like 3 months. Is it in the director's cut? Where? Yes, it is. In the director's cut, we actually added. Let me remove this, and I'll get back to that one in a second. Share, screen, window. Share that one. Add to stream. There we go. We actually added the day and night token. All the different tokens. So yeah, it'll be. Oh, there's the skull that we ended up using on the new D3. Which, if you didn't see the new D3, look, I'll show you the Mirror Town in a bit. Then, yeah, I hope you like it. I mean, it's fun to work on. Like I said, you saw I just printed it out. I don't know if you saw, but yeah, just printed it out. I'm going to do a lot of testing on it over the next few weeks, and then we're going to get that sucker going. I was really glad we unlocked that one. But here's the thing. It's only going to be available for free during this campaign. Anybody that does not back at the physical in this campaign, they're going to have to pay for it because I want you guys to have this one for free. Well, really, I just love this dang villain. It's just really, really neat the way we did it. But yeah, so we're going to give you, those are the beast tokens and all. There's the zombie tokens. We'll talk about them in another time. But then, yeah, we threw in a day-night token just in case we have other villains that use it. So yeah, that was that one. Let's see. Oh, why do I still have that picture up? Again, if you want that picture of the old box cover, let me know. Or if anybody else does, let me know. I'll gladly share that out. I just really liked the way it turned out, and I wish we could have kept going with them. But life doesn't always happen the way we wish, and that's how that was. So, Dracula. Even rounds are day, odd rounds are night. Again, that's why we got the day-night token, so that you didn't have to wonder and check. Okay. Yeah, on my screen, the mat or the PDF is actually blocking the chat a little bit. So I keep checking it once in a while. But during the day, Dracula is -2 attack. So it's not that he can't be deadly during the day, but he's not as strong during the day as he is at night. But during the night, he's +2 combat and deals +1 damage. Oh my god. Okay. Just for the giggles of it, I got to tell you this one. I say attack a lot, and I say punches, and I say all this stuff for the combat symbol. Because whenever I'm playing with other people, they come up with their own names for it, no matter what we say. Perception is the spyglass or the magnifying glass. Nerve is brains. Oh, it's the brains symbol. And it doesn't bother me, of course. But the funniest one, agility. And if you need a reminder of what the agility one looks like, I'll find one then. But they go, America runs on Dunkin' check. They've called it the Dunkin' Donuts check whenever they have to do agility. And again, I don't know why, but it killed it. I just laugh every time I hear it. Yeah. So, yep. So we got to make a Dunkin' Donuts check. Yep, you do. Okay. That is what it is. Again, nothing you can get upset about. It's just funny. So once per round, as a free action, non-Renfield. I wanted the Renfield mechanic in there because because Dracula can mesmerize people. He can get them onto his side. So that's why we have that. Non-Renfield players can gather at the location of a non-Renfield player to combat Dracula. In other words, at once per round as a free action, everybody can get together as long as you're not Renfield and perform a single combat round against Dracula. You add together the values of all players present. That's your group attack value. Move Dracula to the players and engage in a single combat round. If Dracula wins, that's the issue. Damage is applied to all players at the location. So everybody suffers the same damage. Okay? And that's why it's the number of players plus whatever he has on his track. So in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit easier to attack, but as he builds up his power, then he gets more and more and more dangerous. Place a clue on Dracula to indicate that he was attacked this round, and that's only for your note. You don't get the clue. The clue doesn't do anything other than remind you that you've attacked him once this round, so you don't go, "Oh, did we do it or not?" And I just found it was easier for my brain to have something on there that noted it. Now, in the new games, there's other tokens, and honestly, if you want to put another token on there, like the zombie token, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever you're gonna. If you have a quarter laying around or anything, a tennis ball, just something you want to use, whatever you're going to use to recognize that you've already attacked them that round. Just don't use like a big pile of dog poop or anything, because that'll ruin the mat unless you get them laminated. Let's see. Players will choose a random character to be the bride of Dracula. Set it next to the villain mat. So Dracula can be whatever he wants to be. We don't care what Dracula is. So if you happen to draw the nerd, okay, the nerd is the bride of Dracula. He is who he is. We don't judge. Win-loss. The players win when they kill Dracula by depleting his deck. Place a token on the track on the player's starting area. When the token reaches 12, 9, 7, Dracula wins. Yeah, this is another spot where I could see this should have been on a separate line, but again, it was a spacing thing. So Dracula wins when his track gets to either 12, 9, or 7. In other words, that's how long it's going to be until he leaves town with his bride-to-be. Dracula's trying to enthrall his bride at the beginning of Villain. Move the tracker on the player starting area one step closer to him enthralling his new bride. Remove the token from Dracula so he can be attacked next round. In other words, take off the marker that he was attacked. He tries to turn players into Renfield. He rolls 1d6 for each player. On a success, the character's enthralled and will not attack Dracula, won't trade, will not help other players, and is immune from effects of Dracula's cards. So the Renfield player, while they can't help you, while they will not help, they will also not be harmed by brain freeze, the villain cards. For the players to get together at a location to attack Dracula, they have to move there with actions. That is an excellent question. And if we look, once per round as a free action, non-Renfield players may gather at the location of a non-Renfield player. So this joining together is part of the free action. And that's something that I almost said his last name, but for some reason he doesn't want me to say his last name. But Kevin and I talked with a lot about this. Was everybody getting together? And that's what we talked about that a lot. Should we force them to move as part of an action? Like, in other words, if you move there, that's one fewer action you have. And in the end, we're like, that doesn't feel right. It wouldn't cost me anything to come and help you. And it didn't, because they were always together in the movie, right? When they went into the grave site where they found the Bloofer lady and all of this, they were always together. It was always a group effort. And so that's why we did this. As a free action, anybody that's not a Renfield joins up. You pick a location where there's a non-Renfield character / player, and then join together to fight Dracula. If I'm coming across too loud, please let me know, because sometimes when I get excited, and I do get excited about these villains in this game, sometimes I get loud. I have volume correction on the mic, so hopefully that mellows it out. So yeah, that's an excellent question to ask. I'm glad you did. But you get to move there for free. Everybody can join together. Yeah, and the cost of that was like if you were exploring a location, now you got to use your action to move back to that location. So that was the perceived or hidden cost in there. So, yep. And do you have to go? No, you don't have to go along. Oh, that's nice. I appreciate that. I wish the wife would say that. But yeah, here it says may. You may gather at the location. So if you decide and for some reason you don't want to join in the big fight, you can say, sorry. Or if you're low on health and you think they're going to lose, you think they're taking a shot in the dark, you can say, guys, I don't think we're ready for this. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm going to stay off to the side on this one. And then, like, because if you only have one health left, maybe you don't want to join in this big fight and risk dying. So yeah, there is. That's why I put May in there, because we had it where it was where they gather. In other words, they were forced to, and it did cause some deaths, and people got upset because like I didn't want to fight because I knew I was going to die if we lost. So that's why we're like, oh yeah, that would be kind of rude if we just forced people into it. So we said May. This way, if you want to join in, great. If you don't want to join in, that's okay too. All right. So Dracula. This was there was a lady, Rhonda. She's been requesting Dracula since the beginning, and I've been working hard and trying to get it right because I wanted to feel just like Dracula. Again, that Bram Stoker's Dracula, just for her. Because I knew she was really psyched about Dracula, and I wanted to do it justice. Let's put it that way. So yeah, he's draining victims. He's trying to kill people. He's trying to kill allies, but you're able to stop him, interrupt his draining a victim if you have, as a group, 3 clues that you can shuffle, drain a victim back in. So yeah, so you're able to stop him from doing that. And I tried to give that on some of the cards is the players an ability to just cancel the effect of it if they have enough clues. We gave his 3 different forms: Mist, Wolf, and Bat. And if you're in one form and another one shows up, well, he transforms into the other one. One's more damage, easier dodging, etc., etc. I won't go into too much depth on all of those because, again, hard to believe it's been almost an hour and a half already. The Weird Sisters. People looked at me funny when I had these in here, only because they didn't know the lore behind Dracula, and they didn't understand who the Weird Sisters were, Dracula's brides and all that. So I wanted to make sure they were in here, and plus it also got to use the same art with the 3 cards, and their combat is 3. I thought that was kind of a good thing. You can discard a total of 3 clues to detach Weird Sisters and remove it from the game. All the power of 3. The blood is the life. You can suffer 1d6 to remove the blood is life from the game without it taking effect. Again, all about giving the players a way to get rid of cards or negate the effects of the villain cards if they have it. Yeah, supernatural strength. And I know I'm 99.99% certain supernatural strength is not only in here, but also in the Beast Within. The same name, but different art. Different effect. But yeah, so they have that. They have that going for them. Yeah, moving in the shadows, nighttime hunt. Dracula's trying to be sneaky, instill fear. What advantage do the players get if they defeat Dracula in that special action attack? Oh, remember, am I on the mat? No, why is that mat not there now? I don't know why that disappeared. I must have hit stop sharing. But anyway, the advantage is when you win by killing him by depleting his deck. So every damage you do to him, of course, that deals damage to the villain's deck. So the more you can gather together, the more you can attack him and do damage to him. You're actually, that's how you're killing Dracula, is by joining together, hopefully doing a high amount of damage and overturning those cards in order to kill him before time runs out. Yeah, that's your primary method. And that's again why it's a free action. You can only do it once a turn, but it's your main mechanism, your main action for dealing damage to Dracula. All right. Let's get out of the tokens. Villain deck. No, your director's cut. Here I am sitting. I actually have the Slaughterville 4 folder sitting here too, but I know I won't get to that for a while because, like I said, I want to take a break from Slaughterville and work on the. I'm working on the Gone Hunting game as well as the film noir game, which, my God, that's sitting down here. It's a lot of pages, and I'm trying to determine the best way for the layout for that. But if you liked LA Noire, that kind of video game, that's what this is, man. It's a lot of decisions. It's a lot of you're actually investigating these crimes. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, that's, again, I hope that made that one clear why you're doing this attack. It is because your main goal is to beat Dracula's deck. So I'm going to go into here. Now keep in mind when I show you this, it is early. It is this one and this. No. There it is. This one and this one. And it still has to go through the play testing. So this is the Mirror Town. Where is the mat? I tell you, I'd be. There's the other thing. That's the one we were looking for. All right. So in the Mirror Town, you know that you're the bad guy, right? And you're going to be going up against the defenders of the town. So as a group, you're going to choose a plot. Now, what's a plot? I'm glad you asked. The reason I didn't go too much depth on these kind of things for the other ones is I assume people played them for a bit. Oh, yeah, sorry. Again, this thing keeps blocking the chat, and I wish that I could find a way to keep it out of the way so that I could still see the chat and the whole the whole PDF much more clearly. But the plots are these things, and they're imagine like missions in Grand Theft Auto type of a deal. You're going to have a turf war, which we'll again explain more. Bank heist, where you're trying to get money. The form of this is clues, and take it back to your stash. A murder spree, where you're literally just killing as many allies or characters as possible. Corruption is where you're trying to corrupt different allies, and the more people you can corrupt, the better. Anarchy rules. But we'll go through more of those in depth another time, because again, this is just meant to be a quick look at it. And again, still in development. Blah blah blah, all that extra stuff. Art subject to change, etc. etc. Although I think the art is going to be pretty much locked in. I did like, and again, I go on so many tangents. The let's see, remove that one. Share screen window. The card back and the mat back for it is there we go. That's my blanks. It's an actual. I took the game box and I literally mirrored it. I just reversed the image. So this side is normally over here. This is normally over here. So I thought that was kind of fun. And I put the crow from the Slaughterville crows on the bar here. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of fun. So let's go back to here. So when you pick a plot, so you as a group are going to choose which one you want to do. Do you want to do the corrupting people, a turf war, a bank heist, a murder spree? I'm going to try to come up with a bunch more. But right now, this covers a lot of the different things you'd be able to do. I know everybody wants more and more and more, and heck, I do too, right? But this really does cover a lot of the different types of games you can play. So it's actually a game within a game within a game. It's gameception. You cannot, as a character, attach any allies. You're not going to be allowed to do it. You don't combat enemies. You attach enemies, and you can use enemies to increase your stats for a check. The defenders are what's new. Can be used as characters against any the Mirror Town villain. So if you're not playing the Mirror Town, you're actually going to be able to use the villain cards of this as characters, which I'll show you in a second. If the defender's ability targets the villain or an enemy, instead target a character. And but each, as an action, you're able to, as the bad guy, encounter a defender on the location. Because remember, you're evil here. And when you encounter it, you decide which stat you're going to use, and you'll make a check against that stat. So if you're checking your nerve against their nerve, you'll see whatever their nerve is and roll. Now, these guys, the defenders, they can attach items, clues, and allies and things, depending on whatever their ability says. So yeah, they might actually have increases in stats from them. But you can also make a villainous speech as an action. Choose a character at the location to gain +1 to their next check, whether you're talking to yourself and you give yourself a bonus or not. I threw this in here just for the giggles of it. +1 reroll if you actually give a villainous speech. So yeah, and I'm not talking like a 30-minute soliloquy. I just mean, yeah, if you want to give a funny, like, evil speech. I just thought it would be fun. It's not necessary. Then you can cause mayhem because you're evil. Remove the top 1d3. I know I said it'd be a quick look, but here I am going through a deep dive on it. And we were going to do that next week anyway. You win when you meet your plot's win condition. The Mirror Town wins when their deck is empty. And that's the other thing. Usually when the villain deck is empty, the villain loses, right? Now, when the Mirror Town deck is empty, they win because all of the defenders are out at the locations. So, yeah, I just thought that was a neat little mirrored reversal thing. But for each defender, you're going to roll 1d3, perform the different abilities of the defenders, and there you go. Otherwise, if you get a 3, you get a new defender out. Now, what are the defenders? The defenders are the old villains. So we had the Beast Within. Now he's the Beast Awakened. He has all of the stats. And again, I did my same base 16 stat thing. And I used their cards and their abilities to make brain freeze here. To make these characters. And you can take this character and go up against any of the other villains you want. So if you're not doing the Mirror Town, you can play the Beast Awakened versus Dracula. Go ahead. It'll be possible. So not only are you getting with this new villain, which again is why I'm giving it to everybody that backs this for free, but I'm charging the others, is because not only are you getting this villain, you're also getting 24 brand new characters. 24, you said? Yes, I did. I said 24. Even though we only have 21 villains, I gave a preview of 3 new villains. Of course, we knew that Krampus was coming from the promo card. And there's the Sam Hain, the Seed one, the Halloweenish one. And then I threw the Mummy in here for the High Priest. So yeah, all of these. There's the Vermes, the Sleeper, the B-Man. All of the old villains are now going to also be characters. That's why only you guys get it for free. Because this... Honestly, it was a lot of work, but it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to test it more. So yeah, there we are. Your first look at the Mirror Town. Hope you're going to enjoy it. And in the meantime, it now is just about an hour and a half. So I think we're going to have to call it for the day so I can get back to doing the testing and everything else. I got to post this as an update so that people know we did it. Other than that, do you have anything else before we head out? I really should have just had you in here just to stop in and chat. That would be fun. I wonder if people would like doing that. Like, hey, I'll post the link into the StreamYard thing and you can join it whenever we do these on Wednesdays or whenever else we do them. Because I do these Fridays at 9 too. But then I usually talk about comics and everything else as well, not just this game. So, yeah. I appreciate it. I like solo as well. That's what I do a lot. Everything I ever make is going to have solo with it. Again, like except for the Demon Razor one, like we were talking about earlier. So, yeah, that's my goal. Even the film noir one we do, that's going to have you're going to be able to investigate solo. And the hunting game, I'll put a solo way for you to do that one in there as well, even though it's going to be a lot of objective based. Filling in trophies and so on. But yep, everything I do is going to have solo in it. Because again, that's the way that's the way I do a lot of it too. Like I have a lot of games here, then most of them are, I'd say probably 85 to 90% are probably solo games. All right, well, I guess procrastinating enough. I got to get back into work, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'll post this in the updates and so on, like we were saying, and appreciate you hanging out. We'll see you in a while.